got so much weight on my shoulders. Enough to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne.
Hello everybody, Harvard Talks Prison here. The other day I was on Quora, and there was a couple questions. One of them was, how does it feel to do a life sentence? You know, that's hard to explain, it's how does it feel to do any type of time, amount of time. But anyway, the other question was, why do people brag about being in prison and being cool? When I was in, so that's what we're going to talk about. So hit that like and subscribe if you like this content. When I was in max prisons, which was most of my time, not too many people bragged about it. I can't recall too many people bragging about being in prison. But then when I got to Algoa, there was a few people who kind of did brag about doing 2 years, and they was laughing about it and everything. But I told them, I said, what's so funny about that, And one of them said, well, how much time are you doing? I said, I'm finishing up a 29. I'm doing a life sentence, and I'm got about 29 years in. I'll have 29 years in exactly when I get out. So that kind of changed his tune, a little bit, He's a man, But when I got out, I was going down to the cases down here one day, and I wasn't out too long, and there's two guys in there in front of me, and they was talking about being in prison. The whole time they're walking around, they're talking about being in prison, and they're bragging about it, laughing about it. And they get up there and they're trying to impress this cashier woman. And I had been out about a year, I guess, and so they've kind of gotten to know me. She wasn't impressed with him. And anyway, I get up there and she says, why didn't you tell them about the amount of time you did in prison? I said, what good would it have done? It would seem like I was bragging, They said they did 2 years. The other one said 5 years. What would, I say I did 29 years. I ain't going to be bragging like that, That's what it came off as. And she goes, yeah, it's kind of like kids. I said, what do you mean? She goes, you remember when we was kids, one boy might tell another boy, my dad's better than your dad. My dad can beat up your dad. And she goes, it goes back and forth. And finally one of them will try to change up. Well, my mama's better than your mama. And then the other kid says, yeah, that's what my dad says too. And I just busted up laughing. I said, I never heard that one, but I do remember people saying, about bragging about their dads. That's what kids do. So basically what she was saying is these two guys were acting like kids. These both young guys, maybe in their 20s, early 20s. But it does seem like there are people that brag about it. And then another thing, when I first got out, there was this one young kid. He's about 17, 18 years old. I guess he'd heard from Crystal, my stepdaughter, that I'd been in prison. He comes walking up to me one day. He goes, dude, you've been in prison? That's so cool. And I said, sit down a minute. And I talked to him about 15 minutes. And I explained to him why it wasn't cool. I said, you think it's cool that my parents had to come and visit me? That it pained them every time they left the visiting room and I couldn't go with them? They pained them that I was even incarcerated? Think it's cool that I had to watch my back, be aware of my surroundings, everything on the yard, be on guard at all times. You think it's cool that I had to obey the prison rules, or try to? So, sometimes I wasn't so good at it. You think it's cool that I missed out on holidays, birthdays, weddings? And I go on and on and on. I said, so, tell me what it is that's so cool about that. And he said, I didn't think of it that way. He goes, I just thought it was cool, talking to somebody who'd been in prison. Knowing somebody who'd been in prison. I said, it's not a badge of honor. It's not something to glorify, brag about, It's not something I'm proud of, And he goes, yeah, but didn't you go to prison for defending your brother? I said, it doesn't matter what I went to prison for. It's still nothing to be proud of and be, to brag about. And he says, well, would you do it again? If you had to do it all over again, would you do it again? And I said, I would like to think I'd find another option, but, I'll do whatever I can to protect family members, And, but I said, it's not fun being in prison. It's nothing to, go around and say, hey, I was in prison. A friend of mine who got out of prison, he was telling me that about a year after he got out, they went and picked up a guy from prison. They took him to a restaurant. They asked him what restaurant he wanted to go to, where do you want to eat? He picked one, and he goes, the whole time, he goes, I understand telling somebody maybe in a low voice that you're known or you're going to get to know, or somebody you're going to be around a long time. Hey, man, I was in prison, you should know this if we're going to be hanging around. But he says, we didn't know any of these people in this restaurant. And he was, yeah, I just got out of prison. Like the waitress would come up and he'd say it real loud. So not only did the waitress hear it, but people around. He goes, it was kind of embarrassing. And I said, man, that's kind of messed up. And he goes, yeah, I don't understand it. He didn't do as much time as I did. This guy talking about his friend bragging. But he did quite a bit of time. And he doesn't think it's funny. He doesn't think it's nothing to brag about. He's leading a quiet life, doing good, got a job and everything. And he just doesn't understand. It's the same way with people who've never been in prison with prison tattoos because they think it's cool. I thought, when I first got out, when I was hearing something about that, I thought that was just people just talking. No, there's actually people who want to do that. They want to get the clocks with the no hands on it. They want to get the spider webs, the teardrops, all this stuff. And so somebody, one day, and it was a teenage girl of all things, she was 19, was asking me about prison tattoos because she wanted to get one. And I told her, I said, man, you can get a lot better tattoos than prison tattoos. Although I've seen some real nice work in prison. But she was talking about, the normal things you see, like the teardrops and all this, and she's asking me what I thought she should get. And I said, I ain't going to tell you to put anything on you, And I said, I don't care what you put on. What type of tattoo you put on you, that's on you. I don't care. I don't get offended. But I said, there may be some ex-con that sees that, knows you haven't been to prison, isn't going to take offense to that. You never know. So be careful. But these people, they think it's, I don't know what they're thinking about the prison tattoo things. I mean, you can get some real nice tattoo work done. It doesn't have to be you know, teardrops or spider webs or things like that, you know. But I did tell her, I said, I've seen some real nice work in prison, and it had nothing to do with being in prison. It's just somebody wanted a nice piece on them, and I told her about some of them, you know. And I asked her, I said, what is the fascination with prison tattoos? I said, you're not the only one I've heard about talking about this, or wanting this. And she goes, I don't know, it's cool, you know. I said, are you wanting them so you can go around and tell people you've been in prison when you haven't? Because that's really messed up, you know. And I said, people are going to know. I said, an ex-con's going to know if you've been in prison or not, you know, just by the way you carry yourself and conduct yourself. But anyway, I thought I would tell you guys about that. I think I'm going to leave the how's it feel to do the life sentence to next time. But that was a real good answer I gave on the core about that too. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.